Welcome to Life Happens YouTube channel. Today we discuss the biggest scam in the world history. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Let's get into it. Bitcoin is the greatest scam in history. Bitcoin is a scam. In my opinion, it's a colossal pump and dump scheme, the likes of which the world has never seen. In a pump and dump game, promoters pump up the price of a security, creating a speculative frenzy, then dump some of their holdings at artificially high prices. And some cryptocurrencies are pure frauds. Ernst Young estimates that 10% of the money raised for initial coin offerings has been stolen. The losers are ill-informed buyers caught up in the spiral of greed. The result is a massive transfer of wealth from ordinary families to internet promoters. And massive is a massive understatement. 1,500 different cryptocurrencies now register over $300 billion of value. It helps to understand that a Bitcoin has no value at all. Promoters claim cryptocurrency is valuable as a means of payment, a store of value or a thing in itself. None of these claims are true. 1. Means of payment. Bitcoins are accepted almost nowhere, and some cryptocurrencies nowhere at all. Even where accepted, a currency whose value can swing 10% or more in a single day is useless as a means of payment. 2. Store of value. Extreme price volatility also makes Bitcoin undesirable as a store of value. And the storehouses, the cryptocurrency trading exchanges, are far less reliable and trustworthy than ordinary banks and brokers. 3. Thing in itself. A Bitcoin has no intrinsic value. It only has value if people think other people will buy it for a higher price, the greater fool theory. Some cryptocurrencies, like Sweatcoin, which is redeemable for workout gear, are the equivalent of online coupons or frequent flyer points, a purpose better served by simple promo codes than complex encryption. Indeed, for the vast majority of uses, Bitcoin has no role. Dollars, pounds, euros, yen and renminbi are better means of payment, stores of value and things in themselves. Cryptocurrency is best suited for one use, criminal activity. Because transactions can be anonymous, law enforcement cannot easily trace who buys and sells, its use is dominated by illegal endeavors. Most heavy users of Bitcoin are criminals, such as Silk Road and WannaCry ransomware. Too many Bitcoin exchanges have experienced spectacular heists, such as NiceHash and CoinCheck, or outright fraud, such as Mt. Gox and Bitfunder. Way too many initial coin offerings or scams. 418 of the 902 ICOs in 2017 have already failed. Hackers are getting into the act. It's estimated that 90% of all remote hacking is now focused on Bitcoin theft by commandeering other people's computers to mine coins. Even ordinary buyers are flouting the law. Tax law requires that every sale of cryptocurrency be recorded as a capital gain or loss, and, of course, most Bitcoin sellers fail to do so. The IRS recently ordered one major exchange to produce records of every significant transaction. And yet, a prominent Silicon Valley promoter of Bitcoin proclaims that Bitcoin is going to transform society. Bitcoin's been very resilient. It stayed alive during a very difficult time when there was the Silk Road mess, when Mt. Gox stole all that Bitcoin. He argues that criminal activity shows that Bitcoin is strong. I'd say it shows that Bitcoin is used for criminal activity. Bitcoin transactions are sometimes promoted as instant and nearly free, but they're often relatively slow and expensive. It takes about an hour for a Bitcoin transaction to be confirmed, and the Bitcoin system is limited to 5 transactions per second. MasterCard can process 38,000 per second. Transferring $100 from one person to another costs about $6 using a cryptocurrency exchange, and well less than $1 using an electronic check. Bitcoin is absurdly wasteful of natural resources. Because it is so compute-intensive, it takes as much electricity to create a single Bitcoin, a process called mining, as it does to power an average American household for 2 years. If Bitcoin were used for a large portion of the world's commerce, it would consume a very large portion of the world's electricity, diverting scarce power from useful purposes. In what rational universe could someone simply issue electronic script, or just announce that they intend to, and create, out of the blue, billions of dollars of value? It makes no sense. All of this would be a comic sideshow if innocent people weren't at risk. But ordinary people are investing some of their life savings in cryptocurrency. One stock brokerage is encouraging its customers to purchase Bitcoin for their retirement accounts. It's the job of the SEC and other regulators to protect ordinary investors from misleading and fraudulent schemes. It's time we gave them the legislative authority to do their job. What to do when you fall victim to a crypto scam. 1. Find your transaction IDs. Before investigators can begin tracing your assets, they will need all the transaction IDs identifying the funds you sent to the scammers. These transaction IDs will allow investigators to follow the money and see exactly where your coins are moving. While it is still possible to investigate without transaction IDs, knowing these will expedite any investigation and reduce potential complications. What is a transaction ID? On most blockchains, a transaction ID, or TXID, is a unique string of letters and numbers that represent a record of the movement of cryptocurrency from one address to another. This can sometimes be referred to as the transaction hash. This hash identifies the data time, sending addresses, receiving addresses, transaction amounts, fees, and more. A Bitcoin transaction hash, for example, is displayed as a 65-digit hexadecimal number. 2. Write your narrative. A clean and concise narrative of your incident will help give your case color, aiding in an investigator's understanding of the flow of funds. Important information to include in your narrative would include all transaction IDs, where you send your crypto from, where you believed you were sending your funds, screenshots of fraudulent interaction, any additional details regarding the scam and scammers. 3. Prepare to prove ownership. Law enforcement will usually require proof of ownership of the original source of funds. Ensure that you still have access to any accounts you initially used to send money to the scammers. A reliable way to prove ownership of a wallet is by signing a specified message with your private key or by sending a microtransaction to a predefined crypto address. 4. Contact law enforcement and report. If you think you or someone you know has been a victim of fraud, it is important to notify the applicable law enforcement or government agency. Reporting mechanisms for cybercrimes such as crypto scams may vary from country to country. Thank you so much for watching our YouTube channel. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe.